All right, so an interesting thing just happened. An interesting thing happened. An interesting thing happened on the way to the forum. If you get that reference, you definitely belong here. My buddy Chad, I told him, hey man, he's always finding stuff on the street corners, and he found a beat up old folding table. I said, I want one because I want the mechanism so I can make a better work surface for it. And I had a piece of plywood left over from a recent project, and I just doubled up the edges, so it's stiffer. And I was going to mill up some poplar and band the edges. And then I measured the width on it, and it is 5 feet 5 inches, and it's 29 inches deep. And I thought, what's the van? What are those van measurements again? So across the van here, it's a lot less than that, right? And I realized that table would fit right across inside the van as part of the platform. And the distance right now from the edge of the platform, this is a mess, to that the wall of the cabinet here is 28 1/4. Now that there is temporary. There's a box there, and I've got my cooking stuff in there. There's a stove in there, my shower system, all that stuff, cast iron pan, all that's in that little box. When the external box goes on the bumper here, this, like the compressor, now keep in mind, in a month or a couple months, that compressor goes away and I get one mounted underneath the van. So I'm going to gain the space here, and this will go inside the outside box temporarily. But when I gain the space in here, the cooking stuff that's up there could fit in here, which will be great because this is, basically the cooking kitchen area, right? We've already gone over this. When this is open, that folds down. I cook here, and that all works out right. The fridge is there. Now, I got a friend coming next month, and I was thinking about putting the fridge so I can access it from the other side and then resting something on top of that so we could sleep north-south together in here. That's going to be a temporary thing. But you can see where my mind is going right now, which is that table in there. Could store up on top of the bed when I'm traveling, and then if there was 2 people, we could just set it up. Now you wouldn't leave stuff outside at night on it, but you could literally just put it in here. I could just trim it, set it on here. It would rest over there, it would rest up on here. I just need one leg here. That's it. And then 2 people could sleep north-south real easy, and it's a thing. You just take it in and out. Right now I could sleep here no problem, this way a little bit on an angle. 2 of us have slept in here the same size, and it's not as comfortable, but you can do it. I'm 5'9", so yeah, if you're interested in going out with me, I prefer you to be under 5'9". Like 5 foot, 5'3" is like perfect. I used to have a weight limit when I was riding motorcycles because I was riding cafe racers, so if I wanted to date you, I'd always kind of like check you out because it sounds horrible. You couldn't be like over 120 pounds back in those days because we just throw the back of the bike off, man. Anyhow, I didn't ride Harleys, right? With a Harley, you'd be 200 pounds. You have 400 pounds on that bike. Anyhow, so I'm looking at this thing here and I'm trying to think, like, if I wanted cabinets still in here, I suppose I could build something across the top up there so I could still have access with the window and have that pop open. So maybe that'll happen. Maybe I'll still build a half cabinet over here and try to keep that side open. I don't know. But I just thought, wow, how cool is that? What this means is I'm not going to put the hardwood edge on it right now. And I could trim 3/8 of an inch off each side, no problem. I could even pull these screws if I wanted to be safe. So I guess now I'll just hit the edges with a belt sander, and I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to put a few coats of clear on it just to somewhat weatherproof it in case I had it outside and left it out there. But I'll tell you what, how about if I show you what this looks like? How's that sound? Pop it down here real quick. Right quick. I just listened to Papa Don't Take No Mess. Papa Don't Take No Mess. Papa is a man who will understand. Man does wherever he can. Love me some James Brown. Oh my God, I love it. Hardest working man in show business. James Brown, James Brown, James Brown. You guys remember that techno song in the 90s? James Brown is dead. I don't know why I'm being so goofy right now. I'm really under the weather. I could hear it in my voice. I woke up this morning with that thing where you swallow. I'm really hoping to make it to Tecopa this weekend, but if I'm not feeling up to it, I won't. So I'm going to relax after this. It's really light, but so much more stronger than that. These are typically just particle board. So this is, no problem. I could stand on it if I needed to. So it's way more rigid, and it's a good work surface. The idea is I just wanted a fold-in table that I could set up on a job, but also with this thing this weekend, if I haven't talked to Sarah personally other than text, so I don't know if we could have the vehicle in the parking lot with a table set up, or you set up a table with a chair and then you're parked out on the street. I don't know how it is, but if it makes sense, I'll bring a few things. Don't know if I'll actually sell anything, but I might. And then I got a table to put stuff on, so that's why I wanted to get this knocked out. But the idea of a dual purpose thing is kind of blew my mind there. I thought you guys get a kick out of that. And then I'll show you something else here. It's not like I'm looking for content, by the way. Look at this. See how deep this is? It's another toolbox. My buddy Chad had this in his yard. I got to spray down some WD-40 and hit it with some steel wool just to kind of clean it up. But look at the depth. What I'm interested in here is, I'll show you. I was thinking about this as a watch box, because these watches here, you flatten them out and I could just lay it in there. So I could have a bunch of my watches in these drawers, because I've got, I'm not even going to tell you how many, well, it's a lot. I've got over 30 watches at this point, which I'm going to have to get rid of some of them. But there's some usable bike parts in here. So a little cleaning up, and this thing will be as good as new. Yeah. All right. Can't find the keys to the box. Dave is making the shims. That lens is dirty. So yesterday I met up with Dave at Arco over there on Ventura Boulevard. He made the shims for behind the plates. He made me a test one yesterday, so you see what's happening here. So hopefully he'll get those done today or tomorrow, and then I will go ahead and put them on. So what I'm going to do right now, there's enough time left in the day, even though I don't feel good, I think I'm going to pull the deck out of the back. I got to cut the corners back because I think they're rubbing a little. And I'm going to go ahead and put a drop cloth in there and get the grinder out and channel out that inner panel so I'm prepped. If he comes through with those shims, then I'll be able to make it work. I'll be able to get those on, and then those rear bumpers, those rear swingaways will be at least locked in. And then Chad's going to mill me up some shims out of brass for in here. Now Chad's a machinist, so I got to lower this a hair, then I'm going to mic these out for him here, and down here. Really, those shims should probably be down here. Maybe I'll move all that around today. We put cotter pins in, it's not easy to get that out. We put them in just to keep these things from flying out. I have to put bolts in, shoulder bolts I think they're called. They're not threaded until the end, so I got to buy the appropriate size. And we'll get those in. But basically, I'll let him know what the dimension is, and he'll mill me up some brass for these three areas on both of them. He also said that these shouldn't be swinging on the steel and that we should drill these out and put brass sleeves in the hole there. So I told him, let's leave it, and if it starts moving, then we'll do that down the road. But that's kind of a cool thing. It's really, really good to know people that know how to do stuff, you know. And very important for me, because I do most of my own stuff, as you guys know, and the stuff I can't do is the stuff that, you know, requires some real skill. So thank God I know those people. Thanks, fellas. So anyhow, yeah, it's kind of a neat idea here with the deck. I like this system. I'm glad I'm the height that I am because this works for me. And as you've seen before, when this seat is swiveled around, this becomes a whole living room here. And it's amazing how much space you actually have in this van for it being such a small van. The way this is set up. This is just on top of the sleeping bag. This is just to protect the bedding. I've got two sleeping bags that zip together. Between them, I've got flannel sheets and a Mexican blanket. So that's enough for me to stay pretty warm in here. Got my jerry can. You guys have seen all this stuff. So there's the brackets again from yesterday, which are pretty awesome and super overkill. They're going to look good too. I had this idea, and Dave said it, but I already had the idea about drilling some holes in here. So when it's mounted, it's kind of a neat spot. If I was near a tree, I could put a hammock between them and lash things on. Even had the idea of attaching something from here to the rack to act like kind of like a tubing, like a exoskeleton on the vehicle to help it protect it when you're off road. And when I do the bumper in the front, it'll be the same thing. I'll get one that wraps around here and protects this. And then I want to put like an eye bolt or something in the top of that, and then run a line, a cable going to the rack up here as a limb deflector, you know, when you're going down the trail. So when you hit those, you know what I'm saying, trees and whatnot, they'll just hit those cables. They won't be whacking your windshield all the time. So that'll come. Obviously, there'll be a winch in here. Anyhow, yeah, just another thing. I've got work to do, but I want to focus on this because I only have a couple days if I'm going to make it out there, and I want to get some of this stuff dialed and clean out the van and all that other good stuff. So you get a kick out of the table. Think about this. You know, those tables are what they are. They come in the size that they do, but the most important part is the folding mechanism on the bottom. So if you're okay, I mean, this is basic stuff here. Anybody could do what I just did here. But yeah, you can make your own table to a specific size that is much stronger. I might even round over this top edge. I don't know. Anyhow, that's it for now. I watched Sarah's video today, and boy, it sounds like she's got like an all-star lineup of YouTubers showing up out there. So I really want to relax and feel good, so I could drive out there in a couple days. And I think it'd be fun to hang out with those people. I mean, I don't know how they feel about me being there. I always feel like I'm a little harsh. And, you know, she really builds me up, too. Like, the man's man, Mike the man. I'm not putting on any act here. This is who I am. But it's funny because the people I met in Tecopa are really nice people. Like, bordering on hippies, you know, like really, really nice people. And I'm the kind of guy that I can be a little bit abrasive. So, not that I'm trying to be. And I also have a bad habit of, and again, never intentional, of intimidating people. Never intentional. For a couple of years, I was getting a sandwich every day up here at Ralph's. And the ladies knew me. They loved me, you know. Who could blame them? And this kid showed up one day. He's probably like in his early 20s. His hands were shaking every time I went in there. And he's always nervous. He said to me one day, "You make me nervous." Just because I'm like, "Hey, here's what I want. This is how I want it." Boom, boom, boom. The guy was afraid of me, just the energy. And so I got in the habit every time I talk, I was like, "Hey, relax, take a deep breath. You can do it. So everything's fine. I'm not a bad guy." But there's an energy thing, and there's people out there like that. And the people, again, that I met, a lot of the guys I met in Tecopa were just really nice people. And I hope that I'm not, you know, putting them off in any way. It bothers me that I have that kind of effect on some people. Anyhow, I'm probably going to be there. But if I'm not feeling good, I won't. I don't want to put anybody else through it. So let me get back to this short video today. Have a good one. Catch you on the next one. Hey, and by the way, I'm not done talking. If I do go, Sunday night chat this week will be cool because it'll probably be coming from Sarah's place, right? I really hope I'm feeling healthy and I can get there because I'd like to talk to some of these people and see if they'd be up for like these little mini interviews. Maybe I can do a video where there's like 5 or 10 minutes talking to each one of them all in one video. That would be pretty cool too. So that's it for now. But Tecopa, California, this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, there's a swap meet there. They're trying to raise money for the local fire department. So even if I don't make it, if you're in the area, you should go. And if you go and I'm not there, tell everybody he's not there because he's sick. I'm just run down, I think. Been around too many people lately, pushing myself too hard in too many directions. Chad's yesterday, I was at the watch shop today. It's a lot of stuff going on. So, and I'm stressed. So, okay, that's it now. Bye.